Good news. You have given us good news. Hare Krishna.
Really. Yes, temple announced yesterday. So thought of sharing with all the devotees. So in the previous classes, we were discussing from chapter 26, wherein Lord Kapila is teaching Sankhya Yoga, the analytical study of the characteristics, functions, activities, properties of the 28 elements. So we have seen about Ishvara, then Jiva, then Kala, then Prakriti, and then we started seeing the byproducts of Prakriti. There are 24 byproducts of Prakriti, out of which we have seen Mahatattva, Ahankara, mind, intelligence, and their respective qualities, activities, properties, etc., etc. And in the last week, we kind of ended with this slide where we also saw the different activities of the 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karmendriyas. And after seeing through all these things, we have seen interconnection among all of them. So through Jnanendriyas, we receive information from the external world, and whatever information received by these 5 Jnanendriyas is analyzed by our intelligence, and intelligence will tell what is what. What is that particular object we have received through our 5 Jnanendriyas, knowledge acquiring senses. And the mind stores the experience. So having received that information, what kind of experience, whatever kind of experience we go through, whether good or bad or neutral, that is stored in the mind. And the person who really goes through the experience is ego. Ego is the one who is always looking for pleasurable experience. He is the enjoyer. And then whenever similar kind of stimuli again comes in front of ego, and ego gives orders to mind, saying that I want to have it once again, or I don't want to have it, take me away from this place, something like that. So ego demands, and mind expresses the desire of the ego through the prana, so that prana is supposed to accomplish the task. So prana empowers the senses, and the 5 karmendriyas come into action and do the needful, so that that particular object will be obtained by the ego. So this is the interrelation between all these different body limbs that we have within our body. So it's like that. So now in the upcoming verses, Bhagavatam talks about the 5 gross elements with which our body is made up of, and their respective properties and their qualities, etc. So let us continue with verse number 32 onwards. Tasmascha vikurvanat bhagavad virya choditat shabdamatram abhut tasman naba shrotram tu shabdagam. So here it says that, so we started our discussion saying that Mahavishnu glances upon Prakriti, or it is also called as Pradhana. So that glance carried Kala, Karma, Subhava and Jiva. So by the interaction of the Kala, Karma, Subhava with the Prakriti, Prakriti starts manifesting one after the other, starting with first Mahatattva, then Ahankara, then from Ahankara in the mode of goodness, there we have the mind and the Devatas who will be looking after the functions of various senses. Then from Ahankara in the mode of passion, we have intelligence, prana, and karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. And today we'll be seeing from the different products that are produced from Ahankara in the mode of ignorance. So from the transformation of Ahankara in the mode of ignorance, tamas, inspired by the Lord's power as time, that means time is interacting with pradhana or prakriti. So through that interaction, the pradhana, the ahankara, which is in the mode of ignorance, will produce sound. The first element that appears is sound from ahankara in the mode of ignorance. Sound appeared, and from that sound there appeared ether. Ether is the via medium for the sound to transmit from one place to other place. So for any object in this world to travel from one place to other place, there should be a via medium. So for the sound to transmit from one place to other place, the via medium is ether. Sound travels in ether. And then for us to experience the sensation of sound, we need to have the jnanendriya, the knowledge acquiring sense, that is known as ear. Then the ear is the receptacle of sound. So ear already appeared from the ahankara in the mode of passion, and the function of the ear is to hear the sound which moves from one place to other place through the via medium of ether. So the first sound appeared, then for the sound to go from one place to other place, ether appeared, which is absorbed by our ear. So that is like that. Inspired by the power of the Lord in the form of time, sound appeared. The ear arising from Tejas Ahankara, that means Ahankara in the mode of passion, perceives sound. So we perceive the sound through our ear sense organ. So though the sound is made somewhere here there on the roadside, even I'm sitting here can hear the sound because the sound waves transmit from there to here through the ether. So that was the that is how the first element created was sound, and its transporting via medium is ether. Then Bhagavatam says, Arthashrayatvam shabdasya drashtur lingatvam cha tanmatratvam cha nabaso lakshanam kavayo vidu. What are the qualities and properties of sound that are mentioned in this verse? The wise, kavayo vidu, shabdasya lakshanam. The wise know the characteristics of the sound as follows. Through sound, what do we understand? Expression of meaning. Artha ashrayatvam. It is through sound we understand what is what, the nature of something being told by somebody else. It is by sound only we hear from our mother during our infancy. That mother says, I am your mother, I am your mother, I am your mother. When the child hears again and again, mother, 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 then the child asks, what do you mean by mother? Then the mother explains what it means to be a mother, something like that. Just like when we go to school, the teacher tells that write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A for apple, B for ball, like something like that. So it is the sound that makes us understand the meaning of the expression. The person might be speaking some words, but the meaning of the words also is understood by the words only. So in that, it is like that. So through the sound, we understand the meaning of the expression. So, or we express the meaning of a particular object or particular word or particular thing or particular person, something like that. And then second one is Drashtur Lingatvam, revelation of a seer of events. So there is some understanding there that is explained in the next subsequent lines. We'll see that. And it is the subtle form of the ether. Nabaso Tan-matratvam. So sound is the Tan-matra of the ether. Sound is the sense object of the ether. Sound expresses meaning and reveals the seer, such as Vyasadeva or Sukadeva, who sees the pastimes or Lord Rama or Lord Krishna. So there are two things. When we come to temple, for example, His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj is giving some Krishna Katha. Of course, here Vyasadeva and Sukadeva Goswami names are there. Let us start with our practical thing. So, as soon as we come to temple, as when we are outside the temple hall, we hear the sound. As soon as we hear the sound, we understand who is speaking inside the temple hall. Because we already had the first experience of the sound. So, what kind of sound comes from which person? Even though we may not see the person, but we will be able to guess who is speaking. That we will understand only by sound. And second thing, when the person is speaking something, when we hear those sound vibrations coming from that person, we also understand that it seems that that person is actually witnessing those pastimes in his heart and speaking out. Like when we go for Kartik Yatras, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, if it is in Vrindavan, he speaks Krishna Katha. If it is in Mayapur or Jagannath Puri, he speaks Gaur Katha. If it is in South India, he speaks the pastimes of various other avatars such as Lord Rama, Lord Balaji, and Lord Vardharaj, Lord Ranganath, etc. etc. So while sitting in that class, it seems that His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj actually seeing that particular pastime is going on within his mind, and he speaks in such a way that the entire pastime is happening in front of our eyes. The sound has that potency. So these are the two things. So Drashtur Lingatva means we'll be able to envision the person who is seated behind the wall and is speaking. By hearing the sound, we can understand who is speaking. We can able to see that form within our heart. And even when we go in front of him when he is speaking Krishna Katha, so whatever the speaker is seeing in his heart, we'll be able to understand that through sound. So something, that's why it is said that and reveals the seer such as Vyasadeva or Sukadeva who sees the pastimes. And also we see we see Lord Ram or Lord Krishna who is seen by the speaker in his vision. So all these things are possible through sound. Sound has all these wonderful qualities. So then it is the subtle form of the ether. Tan-matra. It is the sense object of the ether. So sound is the cause, ether is the effect. Sound is the source and ether is the byproduct. Sound comes first, then comes ether. So that is the order of creation. Then as it goes further, Bhutanam chitra datrutvam bahir antarameva cha pranendriyatma dishnatvam nabaso vritti lakshanam. So this verse talks about nabaso vritti lakshanam, the qualities of ether. What are the characteristics of the ether? The characteristics of ether, according to its actions, are to provide space for the living entities internally and externally. So it is very simple to understand. Our earth globe is situated in the unlimited space, unlimited ether. And in that earth globe, we have our own house, our own village or town. Within that house or village or town, we are also living. So wherever our personality, our home, whatever it is, everything is in the ether. Ether is actually allowing us to live in this empty space, and it is giving us some space. Wherever we may stand or we may sit or we may sleep, we will be occupying some space. That is all given by ether. If ether does not allow us to continue to stay in the ether, so we will not have any place to stay. So the first quality of the ether is that it provides space for all the living entities externally. Externally, in the outside world, we all occupy some portion of the ether at any given point of time. When we live in a house, our house also occupies some portion in the ether, something like that. And internally means within the core of the heart also it is said that there is ether, wherein all the pranas are situated, wherein the soul, super soul, everything is situated. It is said like that. There is ether within the core of the heart where the soul is situated. For the soul, there is some internal ether. For the body, there is some external ether. So it is providing space both internally and externally. And to act as a base for the prana, senses and mind. It is through ether, our prana, our senses and our mind are rejuvenated and maintained. Ether gives space to the living entities, a place for internal and external actions. It is the shelter of the pranas, senses, and mind, in the form of space for nadis, etc. These are the characteristics according to its conduct. So there is one example Prabhupada quotes in the purport. Simple, not example. One suggestion says that when somebody is not feeling healthy, so he is constantly going through some terminal sickness or something like that, the doctors generally advise that please go to a open space and spend some time there so that they can recover fast. Or nowadays, the technique called as naturopathy is becoming more and more famous to heal or to cure the diseases that people go through. Even Ayurveda also, they have setups like in GV or in Kerala, where they say that patients should come to their place, they should stay for 15 days, so that in the open environment, the treatment is taken, they will cure in a faster space than staying in a crowded city like Mumbai. So the open air or the open atmosphere will rejuvenate our prana, will rejuvenate our senses, and will rejuvenate our mind. So the space is directly connected to our health and our existence. So these are some of the qualities of space. Then what happens after that? Nabasa shabda tanmatrat kalagatya vikurvata sparsho abhavat tato vayus tvak sparshascha sangraha. From the transformation of ether, whose tanmatra is sound, by the influence of time, touch appeared, and then the transport via media for the touch to go from one place to other place is air also appeared. The skin is the sense organ or the receptacle to receive the touch sensation. So it is like that. Nowadays, we can actually experience that. Maybe in the last couple of weeks, it was chilly winds keep moving here and there. So though we may be inside the house, if our door or window is open, some wind comes in through the window or door, and when it touches our skin, we feel cold sensation. The coldness is somewhere outside, but it comes inside our room also because of the movement of air. So air is the via medium for carrying the wind for carrying the touch sensation from one place to other place. Even in summertime, so we see that a lot of hot winds traveling across. We may be at one place, but suddenly wind comes, a kind of chakravat or something like that, and we feel we experience intense heat because the wind is carrying the heatness or coldness, something like that. So from the ether, whose tanmatra is sound, arose, touch. Skin receive the sensation of touch. It means the skin sense organ is the cause of receiving touch sensation. So this is about from sound came ether, and from ether came touch, and from touch comes air. It's like that. Mrudutvam katinatvam cha saityam ushnatvam cha etat sparshasya sparshatvam tanmatratvam nabasvata. The main characteristics of touch are softness, mrudutva, hardness, katinatva, cold, shaitya or shitalatva, and heat, ushnatva. These are the four experiences that we go through touch sensation. When we touch something, whether it is soft or hard, we experience. When the wind comes, by the touch of the wind, whether we experience whether the weather is cold or hot, something like that. It is the tanmatra of air. Touch is the tanmatra or sense object of the air. The main characteristics of the touch are softness, hardness, cold, and heat. It is the Tan-matra of air. So these are some of the properties of touch sensation. Through touch sensation, we experience mudutva, kadinatva, shitalatva, and ushnatva, etc. And then the properties of air. Chalanam, vyuhanam, praptir, netritvam, dravya shabdayo, sarvendriyanam atmatvam, vayo, karma bilakshanam. So these are the different lakshanas, qualities of vayu. The distinctive qualities of air are its action of moving. Chalanam. The nature of air is to move from one place to other place. It cannot stay at one place always. It keeps moving. Only moving air we recognize. If it is a standstill air, it is as good as vacuum. There is no air. Air means by nature it moves. And gathering. As it is moving from one place to other place, it gathers so many things around. It cannot move alone. Especially in the summer season, we see that when the kind of small chakrapath goes, the dry leaves, dry papers will be carried along with the wind. Conjunction or prapti, collecting things, leading sense objects to the sense organ. Netrutvam dravya shabdayo. So some of the sense objects will be taken to the respective senses through air. We will see in the explanation is there what kind of things will come. And giving life to the senses. It is fresh air will give life to all of our senses. The last 2 years, especially in the 2019, in the beginning days, when all the people all over the world were told to home quarantine, people were staying inside the homes, not to come out. For a few days, they became restless. Everyone wanted fresh air. Eventually, when the first lockdown was over, when there was break, people went out for outing. The tourism was like a kind of boomed. So it was said that it is revenge tourism because they have not gone anywhere for the last 3-4 months. So then people started traveling a lot to different places, looking for fresh air, open space, something like that, because they were congested within their respective homes for many months, something like that. So when we go out into the open space or open air, so the senses become enlivened. So it is like that. So what are the different qualities of air? It provides movement as moving the branches of trees. So we understand the movement of the air when we see the branches and the leaves of the tree are wavering. So they're flapping or moving here and there. Then we understand that the wind is moving. The effect of wind is that the branches of a tree keeps moving. It causes association, as in bringing grass together, especially in the summer when the wind is going. It collects all the dry grass and carries along with it. Dry grass, dry paper, etc. etc. It causes cohesion of an object as one unit. So eventually, the air brings all the things together and puts them at one place, something like that. Though the dry papers and dry leaves at different places, because of the movement of the air, they all come together at one as one chakravat and keeps moving, something like that. It brings the sense objects such as sound, coldness, or fragrance to the organs such as ear, skin, and nose. So though sound travels through ether, but ether we can't pursue so much, but we generally hear and say that the wind is carrying the sound, etc. etc. So in one sense, the air which is situated in the ether carries the sound waves and brings them to our ears. And it carries the sensations such as coldness or hotness, which is there outside our home. It brings into our inner rooms, inner home. Or it brings the fragrance to our nostril. So if nearby, when we are walking in the fields, so whatever wonderful fragrance that is there in the nearby plants, maybe there are some flower plants are there, that fragrance will come to us only because of the wind. Because the flower might be emitting some fragrance that must be around the flower. But that fragrance comes to our nostril, we may be at far distant, maybe 10-20 meters away. But still the fragrance comes to our ears because the wind carries the fragrance all the way from the garden or the plant to our nostril. So these are the various properties of air. It should be understood that the movement, association, and bringing sense objects to the senses are all particular types of conjunction. Basically, bringing different things together. That is called prapti. Air brings life to all the senses. As we mentioned, when we go to the open air, where the area where open air is there, not so many buildings, not so much sounds of vehicles, etc. Our senses and mind becomes relaxed and enlivened. These actions of life, these actions of air are its distinctive features. These are the different functions of air. So we say that when we, especially, I mean, some, of course, many devotees might have gone to many different places, but we experience this kind of experience when we go to GV. As soon all the way up to Manor. So we are on the main road, continuously hearing the horn sound and vehicle sound, etc. And as you go inside, in the pleasant village atmosphere, so there is not much noise and everything is pleasant. Then after going to GV, after getting down from our vehicle, when we go inside GV, where the accommodations are there, prasadam being served and tour being taken on. So all those areas very quiet and very still and very open. And lot of trees are there around. Nearby there is a mountain, lot of greenery. And anyone whoever goes there, immediately they will experience lot of open space, lot of fresh air. They feel like, okay, they are kind of relieved of all the anxiety that is there in the city life, something like that. At least for some time that is there, unless until mind is still disturbed. Otherwise, everyone will experience that rejuvenation of what's body, mind, and senses. So that is the property of air. So in that way, air and open ether in that way. Vayoscha sparsha tanmatrat rupam daiveritad abhut samuttitam tatastejas chakshu rupopalambanam. So then, from air, whose tanmatra is touch, under the influence of time, arose form, abhut rupam. So first sound came, from sound ether came, from ether touch came, from touch air came, from air now the form comes. From form arose fire. The via medium for the form to move from one place to other place is fire. And the eye perceives the form. From air comes the form, and from form comes fire. So these are different. This is the order of creation of these three elements. Then what are the qualities of, okay, before that, see, from form comes fire. It is through fire we experience a form. So for example, right now, through this electronic via media, through the Zoom connection or whatever is there, through electricity, all of you are able to see me. If your video is on also, I'll be able to see you. Even if all of you are, if I come to Chembur and all of you are in front of me, we'll be able to see each other. That is only possible in the light. So I have a particular form and all of you also have a particular form. And for me to pursue the nature of your form, there should be the via medium, that is called fire here. Fire means fire in its different forms, such as sunlight or moonlight or electricity light or the fire itself. Any form of fire, any form of light that suffices to help us see the form, because that light is the via medium for the form to go from one place to other place. Whatever form I have, that will be absorbed by another person only in the light. In the darkness, we will not be able to see. Though all of us are there in the same room, but if there is no electricity, there is no sunlight, there is no moonlight, we will not be able to see each other. So in that way. So first comes form, the second comes fire. Through fire or through light, we'll be able to perceive the form of other objects that are around us. So now in the next two verses gives the different qualities and characteristics of form and fire. So this verse talks about the qualities of fire. Dravyakrtitvam gunata vyakti sams vyakti sam व्यक्ति संस्थात्वमेव च तेजस्वतं तेजसा साध्वी रूपमात्रस्य वृत्तया. So Devahuti, the qualities of form are providing shape, dravya akrititvam, allowing perception through qualities and allowing perception of size. It is the Tan-matra of fire. So what is the meaning of these three qualities? Form provided shape for objects. Akrutitvam. It is because of the quality of form. All of us have a particular akruti. So we look like human being, animals look like the animal, the plants look like the plant, building look like the building, laptop looks like the laptop, mobile looks like the mobile, something like that, whatever it is. It is all because of something called as form. It is pursued by the secondary aspects of the object. Gunata. For example, ether is there. And we also have air. We can't see it. We can understand that there is something called space is there. There is something called wind is there. We understand that wind is moving by seeing the movement of the air. We understand the wind is traveling by seeing the movement of some dry leaves or dry grass during the summer seasons, etc. And we also understand the movement of the air when we experience the cold sensation or heat sensation, or heat touch or cold touch. But we can't see how it is, what it is. But the form can be seen. Form is seen with its qualities. What are the qualities? We will see now. Sound is perceived independently. Perception of an invisible substance by touch also shows independence. Both sound and air are kind of independent. Their perception is only by our logical understanding, not for the physical perception. But however, form is not independent of qualities for its perception. Form has different characteristics, different measuring techniques to explain about it, to perceive it. But there are no measurement techniques, there are no perception methods for the wind and ether. Because they are quite independent, they are there. We only understand by the effect of wind moving and ether allowing us to stay, etc. etc. But form has different qualities. It allows perception of an object's size. So what are the different qualities of form? One is called size or volume, x, y, z parameters. Any form that we come across in this world, we measure it in terms of, in x direction is so and so, starting with x1 going all the way up to x2. In y direction starting with y1 going up to xy2. In z direction, it goes from z1 to z2. Especially those people nowadays who are into what we can say, the development of mathematical modeling. So they can develop any model, the software, artificial, virtual image of any form. If we give the measurements, that is all by telling that, okay, what is the x1, x2, y1, y2, z1, z2. If we give all the information, the computer will give us the object shape. So through shape, we can actually understand the different qualities of that shape. And through form, we also understand about what color it is. Whether it is square, cubical, rectangular, round, spherical, red, yellow, and having rough surface, having smooth surface, even without touching, just by seeing, we can understand, we can explain. So like that, when a person is in front of us, we can just seeing the form, we can say that whether a person is standing or bending or running or walking or sleeping or whatever it is. Anything can be explained just by looking at the person, because farm has so many qualities. So that is the nature of farm. And farm is the first perceivable grass element. Out of the 5 grass elements, we have earth, water, fire, air, ether. Ether and air cannot be perceived and cannot be understood. How much air is there, how much wind is there, we cannot say, because we can't see it. But when if we see the farm, we can actually tell what is the volume of that farm, how much length it has, how much width it has, how much breadth it has. Everything can be said. What kind of complexion, what kind of the color, and what kind of the texture, and what kind of the surface. Everything can be said when there is some farm is there. So this form transfers to the medium of fire. So the form is the Tan-matra of fire, and it is pursued by our eyes. Our eyes will experience all the different forms that are there in front of us. So it's like that. Then the qualities of the fire. Dhyotanam, Pachanam, Panam, Adanam, Himamardanam, Tejaso Vrittayastuetat, Soshanam, Kshutrud Evacha. Illumination, Dhyotanam. The first quality of fire is illuminates. It illuminates the area around it. Cooking. Our cooking is done through fire. If there is no fire, we can't cook our food items. Drinking. Drinking water also. We say that I am thirsty. We are thirsty because the fire inside the stomach is increasing. As the fire increases, we become thirsty. And eating. Even when the Jataragni, with the rise to fire increases in the stomach, it has already burnt the previous eaten food. We feel hunger. And then Hima Mardanam, relief from cold. So when there is intense cold, then we come in touch with fire. We become relieved of the severity of cold. Especially in the villages during the winter season, every day morning as soon as they get up, in front of their house, they start bonfire, something like that. Of course, Makar Sankranti festival, everyone does it. But in general also, they put bonfire and everyone sit around the fire and kind of they experience that warmth by extending their hands like this, putting very close to fire and putting some cloth and putting all touching all over, something like that. So relief from cold comes from fire. Of course, nowadays in Mumbai, we generally what we do immediately after Bhagavatam class around 9:15, we all go to the terrace. That is the time we experience some temperature. So the sunlight. So we walk in sunlight, chanting a couple of rounds. Every day we kind of exposed to sunlight so that we can be relieved from the coldness of the winter. So till then we were wearing warm clothes. Then we remove all warm clothes and sit under sunlight, something like that. So these are the different qualities of fire, as well as drying, hunger and thirst. Hunger and thirst are results of our digestive fire, and drying. After washing our clothes, we put them in the open area. So where because of sunlight, because of the heat in the sunlight, the clothes become dry. Something like that. Or even the rainy season, when rain falls, the entire surface of the earth becomes wet. But even maybe within half day, when there is good amount of sunlight, everything becomes dried. So that is the nature of fire that is there in the sunlight to dry it up. So the fire provides illumination. It cooks things, as in the case of rice. Hunger, thirst, eating and cooking takes place by fire only. So these are the different properties of fire. So we always say that I am feeling hungry, I am feeling hungry. So we are feeling hungry because the fire is doing its job. If fire stops doing its job, we don't feel hungry. Or if whatever we have eaten is not getting digested, we become diseased, something like that. So it's the function of the fire. So after eating food, we say that I have digested my food. Otherwise, we say that I have digested my breakfast, I am feeling hungry, let me have my lunch. I have digested my lunch, let me have dinner, something like that. But we are not digesting. The fire which is there within our stomach is digesting the food that we ate or that our mouth ate during the time of the meal. So something like that we have to understand. Jyotanam, Pachanam, Panam, Adanam, Himamardanam. Okay, we have seen this. Rupamatra Dvikurvanat, Tejaso Daiva Choditat, Rasamatratvam Abhuttasmat, Ambo Jiva Rasagraha. It says that by the transformation of fire, whose Tan-matra is formed under the influence of time, taste appeared. So from touch, there comes the air. From air, there came form. From form, there came fire. And from fire, there comes taste. And from taste, there appeared the water. Water is the via medium for the taste to go from one place to other place. The tongue perceives the taste. It is through our tongue we actually perceive the nature of taste. So what is the meaning of this is? So for example, we have all the food grains and vegetables and fruits, all these things. If there is no water content in all of those things, we can never experience the taste of that particular object. If a dry wheat is given to us, if we put the dry wheat powder on our tongue, we cannot experience any taste. But when some water is added to that wheat, it is made like a ball, and then it is made into a roti. It is fried on the tawa. Then some ghee is added to it. Then we experience a nice roti because it has been mixed with water. So that water which actually gives the taste to that wheat flour. So something like that. Even all the food vegetables, all the fruits, etc., etc. If there is no water content within it, they all become tasteless. It is the water that gives the taste of any particular object. And that's why Lord Krishna says that Rasoham Apsukantaya. I am the taste in the water. So in that way. From fire comes taste, and from taste comes water. Kashayo madurastikta katu amla iti naikada bhautikānām vikārena rasa eko vibhadyate. One taste, originally there was one taste, which is divided into many by transformation in combined substances, and becomes astringent, sweet, bitter, hot, and sour, and also salty. So these are the different tastes that we experience when we combine different substances. Pure water will have the neutrality of taste. When we add little sugar to it, it becomes sweet. When we add some salt to it, it becomes salty. When we add some Karela juice to it, it becomes bitter. When we add some green chili crush into that water, it becomes what we can say, pungent. So something like that. And when we add some hing to it, it becomes astringent or something like that. So different tastes will come by adding different substances to pure water, which has neutral taste. So in that way. So by combining different substances, the one taste of the water, which is neutral, becomes subdivided into different divisions, such as astringent, sweet, bitter, hot, sour, salty, etc. And by adding some lemon to it, some lemon juice to it, it becomes sour, something like that. So this is how we experience different tastes by adding different substances together. Salty taste is not there in the sloka, but that is also supposed to be added to the list. Taste, which is actually only one, that of pure water, known as sweetness, or sweetness, astringent, bitter, hot, sour, and salty, by the combination of material objects, bhautikānām. By adding some other material substance to it, the neutral water becomes divided into one of the these 6 tastes. So that divided into many forms. So basically, the Lord has given a neutral taste through water. but it is subdivided into different 6 tastes. At least that is what we say by adding different substances to water. So these are the different ways we can experience the taste. So these are the different properties of the taste. So one taste has been divided into 6 tastes by the combination of various substances. Then the properties of water. Kledanam, pindanam, tripti, prananapyaya nondanam, tapapanondo bhuyastam, ambaso vruttayastuma. It says that the qualities of water are moistening, that means kledanam, making balls, pindanam. By adding some water to the wheat flour, we can make balls. Eventually, we can make roti or puri, etc. Causing satisfaction, trupti. When we drink water, we feel satisfaction. Giving life, prananam, pranana. Water is the most important thing for us to alive, for us to remain alive. Relieving thirst. When we feel so much thirsty, we can be relieved only by drinking fresh water. Softening, udanam. If something is very hard, by adding some water, it becomes soft. Extinguishing heat, tapa, apa, noda. So basically in the summer season, when we walk outside on the roadside, we become so much extinguished or tired. When we come home and take cold water bath, we are completely relieved. Even normal day also, when we work whole day, when we come home in the evening, if we take bath, whether it is cold water or little warm water or hot water, we are relieved of all the fatigue that we went through till now. So that is the nature of water, relieving our exhaustion. And being plentiful. So water is unlimited. On the surface of the earth, out of 100%, 71% of the surface is occupied by water. Only 29% is occupied by the land. And there is plenty amount of water. There is no drench of water. Adjacent to our Mumbai, we have ocean. As much water as we can take from the ocean will never become empty. So that is the nature of the plentiness of the water. Then characteristics of water are, it is moistening. It causes formation of a globe. By adding some water to dust particles, the dust can be combined as a globe, a ball. And it gives satisfaction when we drink. It gives life to the people in general, those who are living here. Shruti says, Apo Maya Prana. Life consists of water. It relieves thirst. Apayama. Apayana. So our life is all depend upon water. Even the modern day doctor says that in our entire body, the maximum percentage is of water only. So we have bones, flesh, and water content and air content, all these things. They generally say that the maximum percentage of the content that is there in our body is the water content. So life consists of water. It relieves thirst. It makes things soft. Or it is plentiful. Water is unlimited. There is no dearth of water. One can go again and again to a well and take water. So this is the example quoted long back. So there used to be wells in the villages and towns, wherever they are. Every home or in a couple of homes, they used to have a well in front of their homes. So they can take out from the well as much as water they want. The well will never go dry, at least in the past. And nowadays all the wells became dry because we started digging bore wells. The water, more and more water is extracted, etc. Otherwise, the wells are possessing plenty amount of water. So these are the different natures of, different qualities of water. So then there comes Rasamatra Dvikurvanat Ambaso Daiva Choditat Gandhamatram Abhutasmat Prithvi Granastu Gandaga. It says that from transformation of water, whose Tan-matra is taste. So by the transformation of the water, which came from the taste, by the influence of time, there arose smell. The fragrance comes from the transformation of water. And for the fragrance to travel from one place to other place, the via medium is the earth. From smell there arose earth. The nose perceives the fragrance, the smell. From water comes smell, and from smell comes earth. This is the sequence of creation. So now in the next two verses, the properties of fragrance as well as the properties of the earth are mentioned. Karamba puti saurabhya santogramladi bhipratak dravya vayavaya vaishamyat ganda eko vibidyate. Just like the neutral taste of the pure water has been divided into many tastes by adding various components, various substances. Similarly, there was one fragrance of the earth, Punyo Gandha Prithvi Amcha. The pious fragrance of the earth is me, like that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So whatever is the natural fragrance of the earth is the original fragrance. But by the addition of so many other substances, by the combination of different substances, the original fragrance of the earth becomes distinguished as mixed karamba, as foul smell puti, fragrant saurabhya, mild shanta, strong ugra, or acidic or acid or amla. So naturally earth has one kind of smell, that is a neutral smell, but by adding various other substances to it, the different variety of smells we experience. So foul smell, fragrant smell, mild smell, strong smell, acidic smell, or sometimes mixed smell of all these things, something like that. Karamba means mixed smell, as in cooking using hing and other spices. Puti means foul odor. So when we prepare some food item, we add some hing, we add some haldi, we add some jeera, we add some rai, and we add vegetables, we add water. Every different substance will have different taste. But when we add all of them, all put together, we get a different taste only. The combined taste of all individual, the combined fragrance of all the individual substances. So it is like that. So that is called as karamba. So basically, how is it that earth carries the fragrance from one place to other place? So for example, basmati rice, it grows somewhere in the field. And when we get that basmati rice to our home, when we cook the rice, that rice actually produces different kind of fragrance, which is actually the earth add a natural substance by adding some basmati rice seeds to the earth. The earth will produce a basmati plant and which will give basmati grains, and the grains will possess the smell of the fragrance of the basmati. Or if we sow some rose flower roots, it will grow into a rose flower plant and it will produce rose flowers, and that rose flower will produce fragrance. Where from that fragrance is coming to the rose flower? It is actually coming from the earth. Earth as a neutral smell, and when it is combined with the rose plant, the combination will give a rose smell, something like that. So whatever fragrance that is there with the earth, it will be transferred to through the different plants, and it will come out in the form of the flowers. Every flower has got different fragrance. That individual fragrance of each flower is nothing but the combined fragrance of earth and the plant. So that's how we have to understand. So earth is the via medium. Even the tree or any other substance is made up of earth element only. In that way, earth is the via medium for the fragrance to go from earth to the perceivable object from which we experience the fragrance. Even we use so many scents. Every day morning, the lordships are also offered the scent. That is the some kind of oil, fragrant oils. They are also extracted from different flowers and different seeds. And all the flowers and seeds are coming from the plant. And the plant is coming from the earth. The fragrance is coming from earth only. So in that way. Bhavanam Brahmanastanam Dharanam Sadvisheshanam Sarvasatva Guno Bheda Prithvivritti Lakshanam. The natural qualities of the earth are its use in producing the deity form. Bhavanam Brahmana. So, whatever scriptures describe the form of the Lord will be transferred into a murti form only from earth. Either the earth in the form of mud, earth in the form of stone, earth in the form of metal, earth in the form of wood, earth in the form of jewels, earth in the form of acrylic or glass, earth in the form of paper and ink, which transforms into a paint. The form of the Supreme Lord that has been described in the Vedic literatures will become perceivable only by earth in its different forms. At the dust, a metal, wood, and paper, ink, jewels, acrylic, glass. So like that, anything. So lordship form comes through earth and its steadiness. Sthanam. Earth is steady. That's why all of us are able to reside it on it. If earth is keeps sliding, keeps moving, how long we can stay here? Because earth is stable, all of us are stable. Because earth is stable, we are walking on top of the earth. Our vehicles are traveling on the surface of the earth. If earth itself is moving, how can we stay? For example, surrounding us, the air is moving. Every now and then air keeps moving only. Can we live steadily in the moving air? We can't. The water is moving. Can we stay steadily in the moving water, especially in the rivers in the rainy season? The water flows with high speed. Ganga, if we go to Haridwar or Rishikesh or Prayag or even Mayapur or Bay of Bengal, Howrah, we see that Ganga is flowing very fast. Can we stand even for 1 minute in the Ganga, in the flow of Ganga? We can't. In the water, we can't stand. Even fire also, when you see some wood is burning, the fire also keeps moving. It cannot stay at one place. It keeps moving only. Can we stay stable in the moving fire? We can't. In the moving wind, we can't. In the ether, we can't. We can only stay on the surface of the stable earth. Since it is stable, it gives us stability. If the earth is also moving like water or fire or air, we don't have existence. We can't see each other. So it's something like that. Its accommodating power, dharanam, earth actually accommodates all of us. So we may say that India is becoming overpopulated and the world is becoming overpopulated, etc. But there is no depth of the earth to provide space for many people who can come. Even the population becomes double, the earth can accommodate all of us. From the point of view of giving us living space and from the point of view of giving food grains. Earth has that capacity to take care of all of us. It has that dharana shakti. It can accommodate as many people as can come. And its ability to make other elements perceivable. Sad Visheshanam. It is by the presence of earth, the imperceivable elements such as fire, air, ether can be perceived. We say that this wood has got fire within it, but we can't see it. This wood has got fire within it, we can't see it. But when we give some fire element from the touch of some small fire to this wood, the wood will exhibit the hidden fire within it outside. Wood is basically the transformation of earth. So it has got fire within, but when we bring it in touch with fire, it actually brings out the fire which is stored within it. And even air, when the air is moving, you can't see it. But if there are some dry leaves are moving along with the air, dry papers are moving along with the air, we can actually see the movement of the air because of the presence of the dry leaves and the dry papers, which are the transformation of earth. Even ether, we say that today the ether is very cloudy. Today we say that the sky is very cloudy. So because there are some clouds which are the transformation of water in the form of solid state. of the water became like solid state. Solid state is as good as uh, earth in that sense. So by the presence of those objects, we are actually able to perceive the ether. So we say that. Thus, it has the ability to make other elements perceive, and its power to manifest differences in all beings and their qualities. It is because of the earth element we perceive differences in different beings. The earth element is arranged in a particular way in a human body. It is arranged in a different particular way in the animal body, in aquatic body, in a plant's body, in a devata body. So the differences we can perceive between different beings. Though it's the same earth element which is there in my body, which is there in the table, which is there in the chair, which is there in the laptop, which is there in the mobile, in the book, but we say everything is with a different name. That is because of the different arrangement of the earth element, because of the different qualities of the earth element in that particular object. So all these things are because of earth element. Earth is used in creation of the forms of the Supreme Lord. The deity forms are made through the earth element in its different ways. It remains in one condition, indifferent to the qualities of other objects, such as water. So earth is steady means, so apparently we take a glass of water, we add a spoon of dust into that glass of water, and eventually we allow that in the open area. When that water is evaporated, what remains is the previous dust only. There will be no transformation in that dust. So something like that. It remains in one condition, indifferent to the qualities of other objects such as water, which is added to earth element. It is the container of water. So, this is the one of the old example. The water moves on the surface of the water. The nature of water is continuously moving. That's why it is called as Nimnaga. A river is always called as Nimnaga. Nimnaga means that which continuously flows from the above substance to the lower substance. Nimna means which is low. That object that continuously flows toward the lower surface is called water or river, Nimnaga. But that water to stay at one place, we need a mud pot, or we need a vessel which is the transformation of earth. So in the past, we used to have mud pots, and then we also used to have brass pots, copper pots. Then later on, eventually we used to have steel pots, and nowadays, so we have plastic pots like plastic water tanks overhead our building, and plastic vessels, plastic flasks, so many other things within our homes, plastic water bottles. So they are all a container which always holds the moving water. Water by nature keeps moving, but to keep the water at one place, we need a stable thing. Earth is by nature, it is a stable thing, and it can keep the moving things in stability. Even a vehicle tire, or basically vehicle tube, air by nature it keeps moving, but when the same air is pumped into a tube, which is the transformation of the earth, the air remains at one place, and with that air tube which is kept in the tire, which is connected to the vehicle, we can travel from one place to other place. So in that way, earth acts like the container for water, air. Even fire is also contained within the cylinder. In all our homes, not in Mumbai, but outside everywhere cylinders are there. In Mumbai, we have this natural gas coming in the pipes. So whatever it is, that natural gas is contained within that cylinder. When it comes out, it transforms itself into fire. So basically, in one sense, the fire is also contained within that particular cylinder, which is the transformation of earth. So it acts like the container for water, fire, air, even ether also. Ether is also contained within a box made up of earth element, something like that. It is the cause of distinguishing other elements such as sky. How? We perceive ether because of the contamination of the earth, or we perceive air because of the contamination with the dust. We say that today wind is very dusty. We say that today ether is very dusty because there are so many dust particles keep moving in the ether. We say that okay, the air is dusty, the ether is, the sky is dusty only by the presence of dust. Dust in its original nature is earth. So it is only by the with the help of earth we understand. As we say that today the sky is cloudy. The cloud is also kind of the solid state of water, which is as good as the earth element in that sense. It causes manifestation with distinctions in all living beings and their qualities such as maleness, femaleness, humanness, the human form, animal form, plants form, aquatics, reptiles, birds. So these are all different distinctions and different qualities, all manifested through the earth element only. So these are different properties and qualities and activities of the 10 elements, the 5 gross elements, starting with ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And the 5 Tan-matras are the 5 sense objects, starting with sound, touch, form, taste, smell. So like that, what is what? A clear-cut understanding has been given by Lord Kapila unto Mother Devavati. Then, in conclusion, Lord Kapila says that Namo guna visheshorto yasya tashrotra muchyate vayor guna visheshorto yasya tat parshanam vidu. It says that the unique quality of ether is the sense object sound. The unique quality of ether is sound. It acts like the via transmission of sound, the object of perception for our ear. The unique quality of air is the sense object touch, the object of perception of our skin. So unique quality of each element, the unique quality of ether is sound, which is the sense object of the air. The previous quality is the cause of the succeeding element. Basically, the quality gives rise to the next element. The first sound comes, sound gives rise to ether. From ether there comes touch, and touch gives rise to air. From air there comes form. From form comes fire, something like that. Tejo guna visheshorto yasya satchakshuruchyate ambo guna visheshorto yasya tadratanam vidu bhumer guna visheshorto yasya cha grana uchyate. It says that the unique quality of fire is form, which is the sense object of eye. The unique quality of water is taste, which is the sense object of tongue. The unique quality of earth is smell, which is the sense object of nostril. Basically, the 5 sense objects from which there comes the 5 gross elements, and the 5 sense objects are pursued by our 5 jnanendriyas. That is the relationship between them. And the 5 gross elements are the via medium of the sense objects to move from one place to other place. The other place is basically our jnanendriyas. The sound moves from the sound making object to our ears through the via medium of ether. The touch, the sensation of coldness or hotness will move from outside of our home to inside our home to our to us by the wind, and our skin perceives that, something like that. Parasya drushyate dharma I aparasmin samanvayat ato vishesho bhavanam bhumau evopalakshate. The previous quality is the cause of the succeeding element. Thus, qualities of all elements are perceived in earth alone. So, the sound gives rise to ether, and ether gives rise to form, and form gives rise to fire. So basically, the ether has got only one quality known as sound, but the fire, but the air will have 2 qualities. So the one quality is sound, Sound also goes through air, and sensation that has touch also goes through the air. Then from air there comes form, and then there comes fire. And fire will have three qualities. When there is a wood is burning, we perceive three things. So one is some space is occupied by the fire, the entire space becomes hot, and the surrounding wind also becomes hot. That wind, when it is moving and comes and touches us, we experience that warmth. And when some fire is burning, when some wood is burning, we also hear some sound, chit pat sound comes. There is some sound, the surrounding wind becomes hot, and we see the nature of the fire. The fire waves are moving up like this, and we see the wood is burning, and it is the burning wood. It looks like red hot, etc., etc. And then from the fire there comes a taste. From taste there comes water, and water has got four qualities. For example, in the summer season, when we go to a place where there is a huge waterfall, when the water is falling down from the top of the mountain to the bottom, there is sound. Their sound comes. And then the small water droplets will move from that waterfall and will come and touch us. So as soon as the water droplets touches, we feel soothing sensation. And we see the form of the water, how it is falling down. And when we drink that water, we also experience the taste of the natural water. So something like that. So water has got these four qualities. Finally, there is earth, will have all the five qualities. How? When a train is traveling on the railway track, if it is coming at a far distance, maybe 1 kilometer away, we can't see it, we can't hear it in the normal. But when we put our ear very close to the railway rail, so through the trail, the sound actually comes. We experience some sound through the trail. So through that rail, which is nothing but the iron, which is the transformation of the earth, the sound transfer, though it is not transferring through the wind, but it comes through the rail. And then after the train travels, because of the rapid movement of the wheels of the train, the rail track becomes hot. Then after the train goes, immediately we touch it. It is very hot. And of course, by naturally the rail track has got a form. It also, if we taste with our tongue, it has got some taste. It will also have some fragrance. So that is bad. The many things are all there. So something like that. This is one example, but anything you take, the earth element anywhere, it will have all the five qualities. Some of them may be more prominent, some of them may be less prominent, but all the five qualities will be there in the earth element. So like that. The quality of higher cause, starting with sound, is seen in the succeeding effect. In ether, there is only one quality, that is sound, since there is no other higher cause. But in air, there are two qualities, sound and touch, because the sound gives rise to ether, and ether gives rise to touch gives rise to air. So air has two causes, one is sound and one is touch. In fire, there are three qualities, sound, touch, and form. In water, there are four qualities, sound, touch, form, and taste. And finally, in the earth, there are five qualities, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. All the qualities of all the elements are seen in earth alone. The special nature of the earth is we can perceive all the other qualities. The ether has got limitation. It cannot give the experience of other qualities. Fire has got limitations, and air has got limitations, water has got limitations, but earth can give us the perception of all the five sense objects, all the five qualities. So this is all about the different qualities and different attributes and their sequence of creation of these five gross elements and their respective qualities, properties, characteristics, and activities, etc. So is it okay? All of you are able to follow? If there are any questions, clarifications, or anything you want to say about them?
Yeah, it was very nice, Prabhuji. Nice class.
Thank you.
Nice examples you have given, Prabhuji. Very nice examples.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Lord.
Prabhuji, how and where can we apply this knowledge?
How and where can we apply this knowledge? So one simple example I'll give you. Suppose one of your close friend or one of your family relative wanted to join in masters. Currently studying in IIT Mumbai. He wants to go to US to do his MS. So he's preparing for GRE. So what do you recommend him? Where he is supposed to do his masters?
US generally, no, you said.
In US only, but in which college?
The best of Harvard's or Cambridge or whatever XYZ.
How do you know that Harvard is best?
From the ranking,
How do you know? How do you get to know the ranking?
from the previous records.
See, finally, you need to read somewhere.
Yes.
You need to hear from someone. Are you getting the point?
Yes.
Hearing and reading both are analogus. So while reading, we hear ourselves. While hearing from somebody, we are hearing. It is by
Yes.
hearing we understand about something. What is what? It is by hearing only we have understood who is our father, who is our mother, who is our brother, sister, who is our friend, etc. etc. It is by hearing in the school starting from nursery all the way up to degree, post-graduation, PhD. We understand what is what. We all go to school. We all hear. We all eat. We all talk about this food is tasty, this food is like this is like this restaurant is famous for this item, this Govindas is famous for this item, that this special, this temple is famous for this particular item, like something like that we say. And this famous temple is famous for decorations, etc. So all these are nothing but different qualities manifest from these different elements. In our daily life, we always talk about or we always deal with them, but we don't know how they are being manifested in the reality. So it is like that. So we may say that, okay, for example, like next Monday is Nityantradashi. After attending the festival, you may say that, okay, today the Lordship's outfit is very nice. Today the altar decoration is very nice. Today the Kirtan is very nice. Today the class is very nice. And today the prasadam is very nice. And today experience is very nice. For you, it is experience. But who is giving that experience?
These elements.
All these elements. The lecture and Kirtan, sound element. The deity's outfit. Outfit is earth element. And your experience is through your eyes. The vision, the form. The decoration also has a form, also has good fragrance. And the prasadam has got good taste. So like that. So we are living with all those things, but we take them casually. So something like that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So we may say, we may appreciate all of them externally, but we don't go to the root cause. So from where exactly that fragrance is coming, from where exactly that flower is looking very beautiful, that particular form has come to that flower, etc. etc. If we bring a deaf person to our temple, will he appreciate the Kirtan and class?
No.
If we bring what we can say, a blind person, will he appreciate the decoration and the form of the deities?
No.
It's like
No.
It's like that.
Okay.
So since
Thank
we
you,
have
Prabhuji.
everything, we take everything casually. So something like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Oh, sorry. This kind of analysis we don't do generally. we are happy hearing Krishna Katha, we are happy hearing Ram Katha and something like that, inspiration to get how to practice Krishna consciousness, etc. So this particular chapter is like little analytical and little dry. So let's go through it. So at least the bare minimum understanding of these elements we have, that will help us in some way.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice lecture. All the examples.
Hmm.
I was just thinking our bodies are also in some way like little planets with 70% water, 30% solid matter.
Hmm.
There is fire in us, Jataragni.
Yes, yes.
There is sound in us, our
Yes.
heartbeat.
No, we produce sound. When we speak, we are making
Yeah.
sound. Sound
Yes.
comes out of us.
Yeah, so lot of similarities in the, say, at least human form,
Hmm.
and the way you have described the planetary system and the elements.
Okay, thank you.
So, Prabhuji,
Thank you,
I
Prabhuji.
was wondering that if this knowledge is given in schools and colleges,
Hmm.
science will become very interesting.
Actually, supposed to be learnt in the school only, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
As
So,
we started our
yeah.
discussion, at the
Yeah.
very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna speaks the Sankhya Yoga, then goes into the details.
Yeah.
So in our school, elementary school, we should actually learn all this. This is
Yeah.
actually elementary education.
Means the connection is so much. Means the way you explain the connection.
Hmm.
Means it was amazing. Means you can correlate so many things in science also with this explanation.
Yeah.
In fact, it is a science, Prabhuji, you know, very
It's,
scientific.
it's purest science, pure science.
And Prabhuji, my last week's experience was like, you know, when you told about, you know, that it's Chitta and, you know, Jiva, they are just accompanying each other, you know.
Hmm.
The Jiva is a witness. So though it was all technical, but it was helping me throughout the entire week to understand, no, I'm just a silent observer, you know.
Hmm.
It is my false ego which is making me. My intelligence is making me to do like this. We have started seeing in that perspective. So it was really very, very helpful. Although technical, but it is helping us, at least me, for sure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. So temple management is inviting all the devotees for Nityananda Trayadashi. The official mail will come, but see to your convenience. Don't take any risk, but if possible, try to be in the temple for Nityananda Trayadashi festival. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.